Right, well, thanks for joining. So today, thank you for joining the webinar. Today, what we want to do, we've entitled the webinar An Introduction to On-Demand Fashion. So what we really want to do, because we're so involved in this space, we're so involved in the on-demand production, on-demand sale of a multitude of different items from lots of different suppliers, we want to sort of strip it back a bit and take it back to basics so that we've got a basic understanding of what the business model is and what the concept is. So hopefully over the next 20 minutes or so, I should be able to cover that off, and then we'll go through. During at any point, you'll be able to see in the panel down the side of the screen, you'll be able to pop some questions in. So any questions that you've got, just add them as we go through, and then I'll try to get through as many of them as I can at the end of the session. So I can see that there's people from all sorts of types of companies who have registered and are attending this morning, from brands, from retailers, from manufacturing companies. So we've got a really good mix. So appreciate everybody joining. So trying to explain the on-demand market. So the whole principle of this, I think what I'll do to concentrate on really will be on clothing, fashion, that sort of area, but it doesn't limit it. On-demand production doesn't limit it to that sort of market at all. It's available for all sorts of different product types. So, but just to sort of simplify it, we'll base it on clothing items. And the principle is very simple, that products are only produced once they've actually been ordered by a customer. So it's a bit of a divergence away from the traditional method of selling things. But the point is so that you are not needing really to maintain a catalogue of finished products, and it's minimizing the amount of physical stock that you're holding. So I will probably repeat this a few times during the presentation, but it is a case of only producing products once products have actually been ordered and paid for. So to enable this on a global level, part of the way that Custom Gateway's platform works is to be able to connect everybody. So we connect retailers to fulfillers on a global level, which we've entitled the Global Fulfillment Network. So we'll come on to that in a little bit more detail later to explain how that benefits your organization. What we have seen, obviously, through COVID-19, it has been a major game changer for everybody, from not just to do with the industry that we're talking about, but obviously everybody globally, but specifically within retail. It's showing how fragile the supply chain can be, and the way that the requirements of customers can literally change overnight, and you need to be able to react to those changes. We've seen a massive acceleration in on-demand fulfillment. We've seen the numbers through our platform accelerate massively as we've seen how buying behavior has changed. And realistically, what it is proving is that it is a viable alternative to traditional retail methods. So there's been all sorts of different brands and retailers who have capitalized on this. Some have had to close store. Well, obviously everyone's had to close stores, but the actual uptake on online sales in the e-commerce space, and also then incorporating the on-demand production model, that's where a lot of retailers online retailers have actually been incredibly successful during this very challenging time for everybody. So why, as a brand, as a retailer, why would you choose on-demand as a business model? The one thing I would say is we're not suggesting that this is to replace existing production methods. This is to complement, to run alongside the existing supply chain routes. But what it does give you the ability to do is to be able to test new products, bring products to market very, very quickly. We've seen things like Amazon and Supreme, the skate brands. They've been doing the drop. They've been publicising new products, social media, etc., and then making them available for sale for a limited period of time, even if it's only 24 hours. But the demand and the hype around the actual marketing activity that's done for that has been incredible. But it enables you to fulfill every order. You're not going to overproduce products to be able to create the drop scenario. You're just producing the products that are going to be physically bought through that activity, just making it incredibly flexible for you. So mentioning social media, enabling on-demand through social media and basically exploiting what social media will do for you. Obviously, everybody is involved in this space, but to then be able to tie that together with on-demand production of products is incredibly powerful. So whatever the activity may be, so there may be, as it's suggested here, sort of cultural and sporting moments, events, holidays, whatever the activity may be, it enables products to be produced. So these products could be designed by the brand, or they could actually be designed and personalized by the consumer. But one of the things that can be done through social media is social media influencers who are working with brands to help promote the brand. If they are producing social media posts, then the way that the platform is configured, simple links can be embedded into social media posts that allow the direct purchase of products, which will route orders directly to fulfillment centers on a global level, on an individual order basis. One item at a time will go into production and will be produced, but directly from the social media posts that has been put up there to promote the brand. So obviously social media is incredibly powerful, but enabling that in conjunction with on-demand production can be even more productive for you. So certainly an area that needs looking at. From a US market report, 75% of consumer decisions are driven and impacted by social media, which is an incredible percentage. But with that, this is the sort of thing that, these are the sort of figures that we will sort of emphasize and show how by combining the on-demand production with social media activity is a very strong way forward. So the assets that you own, your own brand assets, they are the things that basically you need to be utilizing so that you can monetize the brand assets. The way that the platform itself operates enables you to create new products. So it's the brand asset itself which people are buying into, the designs that you have created. These are the assets that people are buying, but being able to then convert those assets into products quickly and to get them to market without any risk is one of the basic principles of how the on-demand world works. So that in itself is showing how risk-free it can be. So you're not committing to massive stock levels. No, there won't be any stagnant inventory. So you're not producing products which are sitting in a warehouse because they haven't been sold. You do hear in the news of brands where they've had to destroy stock because they've over-ordered, their expectations on sales levels were not met. So standard lines that you know are always going to sell. I think traditional methods, absolutely nothing wrong with it, but that needs to work alongside an on-demand model so that you are covering both sides, which obviously leads itself straight into the sustainability side. So, you know, massive within everyone's CSR policies these days. So you need to make sure that this side of it is being covered off. The basic emphasis of this is the production can be closer to the consumer. So if you have a global website, customers are ordering, right, rather than these products, although they will still be produced as they are ordered on an individual basis, it allows the production to be done on a local fulfillment center to the consumer, and this can be done on a global level. And again, obviously, only the products that are bought are actually produced. Everybody these days expects everything instantly. So, you know, you're expecting, if you're ordering things on Amazon, for example, and you're expecting them to be delivered the same day or the following day, even when it comes to on-demand production, the way that the fulfillment centers operate these days, they're still producing products on a 24 to 48 hour turnaround in a lot of cases. So this is still instant gratification. These products can be stock designs that you have created from your brand assets, but they can also be personalized versions as well, so giving greater flexibility to the customer base, but still with this instant gratification, getting the delivery within a day or two of actually placing the order. So if we just have a look at some of the numbers, some of the pushback I often get is from people who are looking at traditional production methods. They will say, well, obviously the price is going to be far more expensive. And yeah, the unit price is more expensive, but when you look at the additional costs from a mass production model to do with warehousing, picking and packing costs, etc., as detailed here, then when you actually look at the actual costs compared to sending an order directly to fulfillment, getting it produced and dispatched directly to the end user, then the prices are very, very similar. But also, you know, this is allowing for things like you're not having redundant stock. So realistically, it is, from a price point of view, it's incredibly feasible as an option to run alongside traditional methods. What we're also seeing is a lot of brands are becoming far more vertical. So they, as in addition to obviously buying the stock in, selling the stock, they're then looking at how they can be actually producing the stock to generate the extra margin that you get from going direct to retail from manufacturing. So this is an area that we're seeing a lot of brands looking into in more detail. So I've gone through the basics of how I would see what the on-demand business model realistically is. So I know that we have had a few questions that have come through. So if you've got any more questions, please just type them in and then we'll come through. I'll just need to sort of stretch around a bit to be able to see some of the questions that have come through, and then I'll just go through those in a second. Right, okay, we've got an interesting question that's come through. How easy is it for brands who have got a traditional workflow to actually adapt to on-demand? We have a lot of customers. My role within the organisation is more on the workflow side, so I'm the workflow consultant. So what we find is there are a lot of people in the clothing market, just sticking on that side, there's a lot of people in the clothing market who have come from a traditional screen printing and embroidery background. So what they're finding is that a system is critical to be able to produce orders. Automation is the key to be able to enable on demand, which is obviously Custom Gateway's background. This is the platform that we offer. So Enabling the technology is key. There is slightly different equipment from traditional things, so you move into a digital production method. But with the advances of the digital production side, the actual cut-off point between looking at a screen printed product to a digitally produced product, it's far more viable to be doing some of the runs that would have, 5 years ago would have traditionally been screen printed and now being digitally produced, because the unit costs are coming down. But also the other side of it is that the order quantities are also coming down. So I think that's definitely one of the main areas. What are the types of products? Okay, yeah. So people are asking about the other types of products that can be produced. In some ways, I don't think it's really necessarily that you need to look at the types of products. It's more the production methods. So, and if the production method fits the product, then it can certainly work in an on-demand manufacturing method. So whether it's going to be, for example, dye sublimation, whether it's going to be direct UV printing onto products, these are the sort of processes, because we need to have a digital production method. So part of the way that the platform works is enabling multiple products to be produced at the same time, with all with individual designs, each one being an individual order. So the platform is very flexible in being able to produce that sort of thing. There's a Cornet related question that's just come in. How do you see the acquisition from Cornet changing the way Custom Gateway changes over the coming years? That's evolving, obviously, at the moment, but Custom Gateway is going to get integrated deeper into Cornet systems. From a Cornet point of view, that's good, but we're certainly not going to restrict that side of it. We want to work with all manufacturing companies in all sorts of different areas in the on-demand space. So we are still a very broad platform that's going to work in all sorts of different areas. So the emphasis is just to create more connections, create a wider network of suppliers and retailers. So and obviously the global fulfillment network is going to be a key part of that. Okay, question from Michael. I have a brand. Can I use Gateway to send orders to various printers? Yes, exactly. So, I mean, it could be different printers for the same products in different countries. So that's the local nature that I mentioned earlier. So you are producing closer to the consumer's delivery address. Oh, I see. Yeah. So, yeah, if you receive orders in the Netherlands, will the jobs be sent to a printer in the Netherlands? Yes, it can be, if that's what you want it to do. If you had a website in the Netherlands, but the delivery address for the order was the UK, then that can be automated so that it will route to a fulfiller. So all it is a case of tying up suitable fulfillers from within the network, or bringing on new suppliers as they need to. So, yeah, very flexible on that front. Global reach. So, obviously, Cornet is a global company. Custom Gateway, before the acquisition, we had head offices near Manchester in the UK, with another office in the UK. We've also got offices in Aachen in Germany, in Hong Kong, and in California. So that was the Gateway side. From those core bases, each one of those were developing supplier networks in their regions, which we can then tie together through the platform as a whole. So I would say we are heading towards complete global reach. It's obviously going to expand further and get more localized as it expands. yeah, but we do have people operating all over the world. Okay, I was just seeing if any more questions are coming in. Okay, there's one here. What is your argument for or against fast fashion? All we're trying to emphasize really here is not trying to say anything for or against fast fashion. We're offering this as a method that can be utilized so that in consumers buying clothing items, to give them the choice of the products that they want, but to enable this in a more sustainable method, just to help like reduce inventory, etc., as I've mentioned earlier. So that's the key message that we're wanting to get across. So okay, well, I appreciate everybody joining. It's been quite a busy session this morning, so thank you very much for joining, everybody. I think we have a few other elements that I just wanted to cover off from the gateway side, realistically. So, you know, how can we help enable this for your business? So we have the platform, which is central to Custom Gateway, which will manage all areas of this. It will work for the retail side, for integrations into websites. We have the knowledge of the industry over many years and how it has evolved to the position it is at the moment. We are ever expanding the fulfillment network. So this is a side that retailers can tap into. And we have the systems and services to be able to tie everything together. So whether you are a brand looking for additional fulfillment services, whether you are a retailer wanting to get into the on-demand space, or if you are a manufacturer also wanting to provide services into this market, we can be the connection. We can be the bit that pulls everything together for people. So thank you for coming. You'll get a recording of the webinar, and also there'll be a PDF slide deck that will get sent through. So thank you all very much for your time. And these are some contact details. We've got another webinar next month. Not sure what the subject is going to be yet, but that'll be in a month's time. And there we've got sort of emails and contact details if you'd like any further information. So any other questions, just send them through on either of these methods, and then one of the team will be happy to get back in touch and come back to you. So if anyone needs any demonstrations and things, then we'll be happy to sort all that out. Thanks again for joining, and speak soon.